morning, everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal, and it's a pleasant 16 degrees at the moment, which would be sort of 60 in the American equivalent. I'm on my way to work, and it's a cloudless day. Really beautiful day. And if it weren't for the fact that the leaves are starting to fall, you would say a beautiful summer day, and it is really late summer. I thought the word for today would be memory, and there's a good there is a very good reason for that. Somewhere on the broadcast this weekend, a topic came up, and everybody agreed it was a really important topic for me to talk about, and I said, not a problem, I'll talk about it next week, all next week. I mean, it was a big topic, whatever it was. Yeah, right. So for those of you who still have memories, perhaps you'd be good enough to let me know, and during the rest of the week, once I get that information, I will continue to talk about whatever that very important subject was, unless of course my brain feeds it back to me somewhere in the middle of talking to you guys today. But I spent quite a bit of time this morning trying to go, yeah, I remember saying that's a good topic, I'll talk about it next week. And then things happened, and a lot of things happened, and I have absolutely no idea what the topic was. So help me out here, guys, and I will gladly discuss the topic with you. So I thought I'd talk about memory, and one of the interesting things about getting older is that your memory changes, and it gets selective. And I first discovered that, funny enough, when my thyroid broke down and I lost a chunk of my memory. That was really weird. I didn't know that that could happen, but I lost a chunk of my short-term memory. And so sometimes people will tell me things, and 24 hours later I have absolutely no memory of it. And for those of you who relate to what I'm saying, the words, I'm sure you told me, but I just don't remember you telling me, have become sort of part of my life. Because people think, when you say, I really don't remember that, what they think you're saying is, you didn't tell me. And I go, no, I'm sure you told me. The difference is I just don't have any memory of it. That's a whole different story. And so, for those of you who've got parents, maybe, that are my age, understand this is not that we're stupid. This is about a section of our brain has ceased to function for whatever reason. Mine was some sort of chemical imbalance that caused it. But it doesn't make me stupid, it makes me unable to remember certain things. I wonder if you can see the difference in that. So you look at it and you go, it's not me, it's, if you like, the disease. And there's so many times when we're dealing with people who have issues, and what you're dealing with is not the person but the disease of that person. And it's very frustrating, and I am quite sure that I will continue to do everything I can to not only maintain what memory I have, but also try and improve it. I've come a long way, actually. I'm quite proud of how far I've come. So, but it is really horrible. When I say it's really horrible, I wonder if you can imagine what it's like knowing that you used to have, I used to have an almost photographic memory. It was wonderful. Yeah, right. Long time ago, in my youth. And I now am very lucky in that I have Yvonne in my house, and Yvonne has a photographic memory. Sorry, I've got some guy tailgating me at this point, and I really don't enjoy that. Oh, good. He's going to undercut me. He's going to the Jeep repair shop. Good. So, memory is a thing that I would recommend you all be aware of and keep doing things to maintain it as far as you can. For those of you who do work your memory, and I say that those of you who might be a little bit older and are aware of, okay, fine, I need to keep this memory working. It's a bit like your hands, I think. I notice now as I get older, handwriting stuff is a little bit more difficult. Well, the reason it's more difficult is because I don't use my hands as much as I used to. And yet, I do use them a lot. And the reason I use them a lot is because I still type a lot. I use the computer a lot. So I've got certain muscles in my hands that are really strong, and then other ones that are not so strong. My clenching muscles are not as strong. And so my muscles have forgotten how to, their memory of being strong is fading. So, do I have a choice in this? Absolutely. I could take a ball and squeeze it every day, and make that work. Make those muscles work and rebuild them before they atrophy. That's a choice. Now, I have very, very difficult time at the moment in my mind because I've had 3 consecutive days where I have not walked. Got lots of reasons for it, all of them very good. But I'm getting out of the habit, and so I need to get back in the habit, and I need to do it before the weather changes. And so tonight when I get home, walking is a high priority for me. And the next thing that's a high priority for me is doing something in my house. Because I've noticed now with doing more and more with the vlogs and trying to keep up with all the comments and everything, I'm doing less and less with my house, and my house is beginning to really show that. And so it's important that I change my routine. And I need to start with my life for at least a couple of hours every evening, and then get on to doing the Dear Mama Sal stuff. What I've been doing is coming home and doing Dear Mama Sal stuff, and that can take me all evening. So that's got to change. And I need to remember, and that's about memory, I need to remember that my life and my home are very precious to me, and I need to maintain those as best I know how. And I know that those of you who are regular viewers and watchers will go, yeah, of course, duh. But you get out of you get into the routine of coming home, grabbing a coffee, sitting down at the computer, and sort of relaxing while you're answering emails and comments. And then the next thing you know, you're uploading video, and the next thing you know, it's midnight. And so I need a change in that pattern. And it may mean that I don't get to answer everything the way I'd like to. The good news was that we had Chloe come on to the broadcast this weekend. And Chloe, for those of you who don't know, is an absolutely delightful viewer we have from England. And she has this really difficult disease that every time just about she moves, you know, she dislocates bones. And any of you have ever dislocated a bone, you know how painful that is. And so, you know, we sit in awe of what this woman manages to do with her life. Just amazing. And so it's always a pleasure, Chloe, if you happen to be catching up and listen to this one, it's always a pleasure to have you on the broadcast, and you lighten up our lives every time. And the other person I wanted to give a shout out to was Leslie in Scotland. Leslie, I know that this is an interesting week in Scotland, as you all go to the referendum and decide whether you're going to stay in the British Isles or not, or rather you're going to stay in the United Kingdom or not. You'll always be on the British Isles. But I wanted to let you know I did get your card. I have not opened it because I wanted to give you the pleasure of watching me open it. So I'm going to hang on to it until you're on a broadcast, and I'll open it then. I know it's weird. I don't know why that's important to me, but it is. Very important to me. We had lots of fun broadcasts, and we had a few new people pop in, which was absolutely great. Junebug, I think, was one. And I really admire people who actually decide, I think I'm going to try this and see what happens, and actually get there and join in. So well done there, Junebug. And there were a lot of people that gave me a lot of support this weekend. We had a few issues going on, and I really wanted to thank Alice and Lolo and all the rest of you guys. It was good work. We also heard this weekend of a couple of our viewers who are really having a difficult time this week, either through sickness or trying to deal with some stuff that they've heard about. And so, for those of you who are into our thoughts and prayers section, we've got a number of people that need a little bit of extra support. And I really thank people like Erin and Alice and Lolo and all the rest of them for the support that you give to people. Because, you know, it's not just appreciated by them, it's appreciated by me at a level you cannot imagine, because I know I cannot possibly do it all anymore. And it is exactly what I had hoped for, is that we would create this wonderful group of people who would support one another. And, you know, we've got a situation at the moment where some of our support team are needing support. And, of course, a lot of people are stepping up to the plate, and that's really great stuff. I genuinely look back on these couple of years, and my memory of it is that of great joy and laughter. Two things. Number one is, whoever thought that I could make a difference to somebody's life just by talking in the car? You know, who would have thought that? But I had a new viewer write to me this morning. I saw that comment before I started driving to work, and she said, I'm a new viewer, and she's come from Judy's channel, and she happened to see the video that we did on warnings. And she told a wonderful story. Now, if you happen to be listening to this, new viewer, I want to thank you so much, because it gave such a vivid demonstration of what can happen. So if you can imagine this young lady, I can smell gasoline. I don't like that. I'm hoping it's not. Oh, I'm right next to a gas station. That might account for it. Okay. Anyway, so this young lady, or not so young, I'm not sure how old she is because she didn't tell me, but was telling me that if you can imagine, she was a very vibrant person, loved lots of color and da-da-da-da and all the rest of it, you know, but she's, you know, that sort of a person. Got it in your mind, all right? And then she gets a boyfriend who is an earth tone boyfriend. And that was fine, and they started living together. And the first thing she noticed is that they bought a brown couch, or a tan couch, can't remember which, but one of the brown colors anyway. And again, she didn't really react. And then she noticed they were painting all the walls in the house earth tone colors. And again, she didn't see the warning. And she said it took some time before she ended up going to see her doctor because she was in depression. And as she was going into her doctor's office, she happened to pass a mirror. And she looked at herself, and she was wearing brown clothes. And she realized she had never worn brown clothes in her life. And she realized that her whole world had changed. She had gone from being a vibrant color, vibrant person into an earth tone brown person. Now, I'm not saying that people who like earth tones are brown or depressed people. Don't get me wrong on that. But for this young lady, changing her colors was part of her changing her life. And she said that, you know, just passing that mirror in that moment when she saw what she was wearing, she almost didn't need to go to the doctor. It was a real wake-up call. And she got it. The warning signs had been there, and she had ignored them. And so she thanked me for the video, and said what a pity she had not seen that video earlier on in her life, because it could have helped change her life quite dramatically. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm a great believer that we are in exactly the right place at the right time. I really do believe that. I don't believe that you should have watched it, you know, before. I do understand what you're saying, though. I totally relate to that. But, you know, you're at a stage in your life where you're ready to watch them. You know, my videos are not for everybody. And, gosh, wouldn't that be arrogant if I thought that they were? And they're not just for people who maybe have got big problems. No, I like to believe that the sort of people who watch the Dear Mama Sal videos are people who want to improve their lives. And maybe they've sorted out some of their stuff, but they want some constant reminders to keep on looking at their lives. Because the way that you get to have a happy life is not to be on autopilot. It's to actually know what you're doing. Not only to other people, but also to yourself. And you need to know more about who are you as a person. And are you accepting this because everybody else in your life thinks you ought to, or are you accepting this because it's okay with you? And I think that's a really difficult time in our lives when we realize that some of the things that we were taught actually don't suit us. don't suit us at all. Maybe some of the things we were taught were not to have that much integrity, or maybe we were taught only to sort of mix with certain people. You know, there are a lot of things in my life when I have memory of it that I go, wow, I'm not really sure if I want to live that life again. And therefore I get the right to change because it's my choice. And so we had a real demonstration at one point this weekend of somebody who was a total victim to a situation as opposed to somebody who wasn't. And we look at it and go, you know, when you realize that your life is about choices, you know, if you see something and you don't like it, you can choose to walk away from it. Just because you don't like it doesn't make it wrong. All right, and I think that's an important lesson to learn as well. Just because you don't like something doesn't make it wrong.